Hi, I'm Bradley Ramil, and I'm doing my senior project on Hawaii's energy crisis in the face of climate change. I got most of my research from an interview from Colton Ching, and I did it. I had two conference calls that were over an hour long, and we talked about energy. And his title for Hiko is he's the vice president of energy delivery. We are in the middle of an energy crisis in Hawaii, and what I mean by this is Hawaii is paying a lot for energy. The cost to ship it here from the mainland is costing people who live in Hawaii and use energy. It's costing them a lot. We import most of our energy in the form of fossil fuels from the mainland. This is bad for the economy and also for the environment because it causes global warming. Hawaii may be in an energy crisis, but this is also an opportunity to transition to cleaner, renewable energy sources. And Hawaii is blessed in this case because we have an abundance of renewable energy sources that we can tap into. For example, the most important one is the sun, which shines most of the day brightly, and a lot of individual local houses and even businesses in the military in Hawaii are putting up solar panels to take advantage of the sun's power to power their homes or factories. Another example is the wind. The Hawaiian Islands have trade winds, and we could tap into the wind power if we know where the wind blows the most. And this technology is in the form of wind turbines that we could install. Another energy source, natural energy source that we could tap into is geothermal, and many are looking into it because Hawaii has volcanoes, and we can tap into this energy under the ground, and this also might even be more reliable than wind and solar because it's not intermittent, meaning we can only get energy when the wind blows, and we can only get the sun power when the sun is shining. And the wind power and solar will only work if we have a way to store that energy when it's not being produced by the sun or wind. And this could be batteries that could solve that problem. Hawaii also has waves. We could tap into the wave power with the right technology. And this may be more reliable compared to wind and solar. all stakeholders on Hawaii are on board and are discussing the best way to make the transition to clean renewable sources. These players include top Hawaii businesses, the university, the military, the state, the PUC, the Public Utility Commission, which regulates our utility, HECO, and also the community, the local community at large. We are all trying to discuss the best way to transform our utility so we can hook up most of our energy needs through clean renewable sources. HECO recently came up with a plan making a proposition to use LNG, liquefied natural gas, which is another form of fossil fuel. And their case is they will save money by bringing this fuel importing this fuel and having refineries within Hawaii. They claim this will create jobs. And they said this money that they'll make from LNG will be invested in transforming their utility and grid so it could be more renewables, clean renewable sources like solar power and wind and geothermal could be hooked up to the grid and supply most of our energy needs. There is a lot of controversy between the solar industry and our local utility HECO because of the demand in Hawaii for solar panels is booming. Everybody wants to produce their own energy from the sun, and according to HECO, no more solar panels can be hooked up to rooftops at this point because of the oversaturation of the grid with solar power. HECO's grid is not suited for renewable technologies like solar panels, and the solar industry is coming to a halt because of HECO's outdated grid. HECO is a for-profit utility company in our state and is regulated by the PUC, the Public Utility Commission. Their plan is to have 65% renewable energy by 2030. They don't specify clean renewable energy, but just renewable energy. And they are claiming investing in liquefied natural gas, another form of fossil fuel, will get us there because they will use the profits they make from liquefied natural gas to invest in fixing the grid so it could accommodate more renewable energy. I personally am skeptical about investing in another form of fossil fuel, so we could invest in renewable energy, because looking at global warming and what scientists feel is we have a short period of time to make that transition. I don't think 2030 is a viable timeline. And liquefied natural gas may be cleaner, but it's still fossil fuels, and it still adds carbon dioxide to the atmosphere, destabilizing it, trapping heat that can't escape. The greenhouse effect is man-made. It's caused by the 7 billion people burning fossil fuels, which emits CO2 into the atmosphere. And CO2 is a greenhouse gas, which basically traps heat on Earth. It prevents the sun's heat from escaping to space, and therefore heats up the planet. And according to scientists, the majority of scientists, this has major implications for life on Earth, and we're already seeing climate change and the effects of it. For example, the melting of the ice caps, sea level rising. Although global warming is a scary reality, it could be approached as a catalyst to mobilize people to change the way they live and rethink the relationships they have with each other, as well as with the natural world. And we all could be better for it. If Hawaii gets it right, it can serve as a model for other states to join the energy revolution to battle climate change and global warming. In conclusion, I do not agree with Hiko's plan to use liquefied natural gas as a transition fuel so that we can eventually pay for clean renewable energy in the future. I feel that we should focus on fixing the grid so that clean and renewable energy sources can be connected now. There is an already great demand for solar panels and a lot of solar power waiting to be connected to the grid. However, I think in order to make this transition in a short period of time, the state has to take over management of energy in the private sector. Thank you for listening to my presentation.